Welcome back, everybody. Well, the last time you saw me, I put a septic tank in the ground. Well, it's been about a week ago, and it has rained about every day, it seems like. So luckily we got the septic tank, had quite a bit of dirt through around it and had it covered up so it didn't float out of the ground. But we've had a pond, but hey, we've had a couple dry days. So me and my operator over here, we're gonna try to tie a drain line from the house into the tank, and then from the tank down to the line running into our field lines. That's good. Where all that water's been done in this trench, it's got it pretty well saturated. So I don't want, when I get my drain line put in here, I don't want that all to just cave in underneath it. So had some old broke up concrete over there. I'm just gonna stomp down in there, and that'll ought to help tie this together a little bit, keep it from falling so bad. Well, one thing I can say about this tank, it's got a crappy future ahead of it. If you've never seen inside of a septic tank, this is where your solids would go, and then it's got that crossover, so solids fill up, water goes over, and then water fills up and runs over and goes out the other side. Here's the objective. That water line is stubbed up right there. We need to just dig out here in front of it. I'm gonna hold it back, you dig in front of it. That way we can open that trench up, then our water line will continue to go right around here and tie in. All right, let me get over there and hold the water line. Raise it up, bring it right here and scoop it out. Okay, easy does it, okay. Put your dirt back here. Hey, get right in here and take another one out. All right, my operator got us a ditch here dug, coming right around the tank, so we was able to extend our conduit for a water line. And we brought the conduit on over here back to solid ground, because this will continue to settle probably some around the tank. So we brought it on back here and set it on solid ground. That way, if this does settle, our water line comes in and then that goes down. Safe measures, we brought it back here to solid ground. So if it does settle, it'll have a little swag in the pipe, but that should keep us from kinking that water line and potentially breaking it. So we got to suck us a string through this, and we'll pull our water line inside the house. And then all we'll like is run our line from there down to the field lines. If you're wondering why I stopped my conduit right here next to the tank versus just stopping it back here after I got outside the porch, I will identify where the location of this tank is from the house, but I figure it's way easier to find and then the conduit right off the corner of the tank versus in between the tank and the house and mess my grass up right in there next to the porch. All right, before it gets dark, we're going to try to go ahead and suck our string through there so we can pull our pull rope through to pull our water line through the conduit. So if you've never done it, I usually will just take a piece of string line, tie it to a plastic bag, and you want your plastic bag big enough to sort of fill the pipe up so it can suck against it. But we will stick that in the pipe from the inside of the house. We'll turn the vacuum cleaner on it out here, and we'll try to suck it through there. We got Brantley outside with a vacuum cleaner. We're gonna try to suck our pull line through there so we can pull a rope. So here we go. Now when I put the conduit under the slab to receive this water line, I meant to put a 2-inch piece of pipe in there to run this one through, but Travis ran 1.5 inches. So this is a 1-inch line going through an 1.5 inch pipe. So this one's gonna be a little snug. But I had run into a situation one time to where it got tight. We had to really pull on it. So I cut a wood block that will slide down in it. My line will go through it. We'll wedge that down the hole. We'll screw it from both sides. But I've got to stay up here close to the end or this thing won't pull through that nut. And as always, I don't have the right size screws. So these are gonna come out the other side, but we'll just cut them off. All right, let's cut our screws off and get to pulling. All right, I've always found pulling these pipes through Dawn or any kind of dishwashing detergent or whatever you call this, dish soap, works best. It lubes the end of your pipe up. So I've got this slicked up on this end. I'll go in there with a cup of water on the inside, make me a little slurry, and I'll pour it down the pipe. Brantley's gonna feed it in. I'm gonna pull it out. Let's hope this works. Well, it got dark last night, so I don't know if the video will turn out or not. But I had that little wood block down in here and then had screws running through each side of the pipe into that rope so it would hold. But what it prevented was allowing this end right here to be able to bend through that 90 down under the concrete. So I ended up drilling a hole straight through the pipe. So I drilled through here and out, so my rope went down in the center, out this hole, up over top, back in, back up here, and I tied a knot in it, which I just cut it off last night once I got it through the hole. And then I just tapered my corners, that way I could get it to pull through that 90. But I will tell you, a 1-inch line coming through an 1.5 inch piece of pipe, you're pushing your limits to get it through there. So Brantley and I've got to get the rest of that pipe pulled through. And so we're gonna have to grunt and growl here a little bit, but I think we can do it. Hey, Sean Young, that one's for you.
We aren't pushing, don't worry.
So YouTube land. I don't know if you know this or not, but Travis, Mr. Expert himself, apparently put in the wrong size pipe. So that's why we are out here having to do this whatever we're doing for the second night in a row, working on this. Last night I was holding the flashlight trying to help
Mr. Expert.
So anyway, not too fond of the old expert house builder at the moment, but here we are.
Are you even pulling?
Are you all pushing much at all?
Yeah, I'm straining my guts out.
All right, Kristen, you come in here with me. Palin, Brantley, you do the pushing.
So now, it's 9 o'clock, 30 minutes past my bedtime, and here I am, still doing whatever, fixing his screw up.
Well, water line is in. I'll tell you, that was a bear to pull through there, but we got it in there, so we'll go outside and cover her up. I'm not very good in the daylight, let alone in the dark, but I've got it in pretty good shape, but just guessing at it. I'll kick a little dirt around in there, and I believe I can lay that pipe in here and get this thing tied in tonight. I had somebody ask me a question there a couple days ago and sort of got me thinking, sort of brought back some memories. But they asked the question, they said, Travis, do you think we should build a house, or do you think we should just be patient and buy one? Because around here inventory levels are pretty low, and they're you know, getting antsy and they're ready to do something. But I remembered when they asked me that question, I remembered I was helping some folks. It's been 7-8 years ago, but husband and wife, and you know, we hadn't found what they were looking for. And so the guy, he talked a lot, but he didn't say much. I'll let you read between the lines when it comes to that. But we went out and looked at the house, and he didn't like it, and he said, you know what, I'm just gonna build a house. And so his wife, she was I don't think she had much faith in him on building a house. So I said, well, yeah, I said, you build one, that's no problem. But I said, I'll just kind of walk you through you know, some parameters on what you can expect. And I said, we were standing in a bedroom, and I said, let's just take this bedroom for example. I said, one, we got to first find you a lot that we can set this bedroom on, and then we got to figure out, okay, can we build the house that we want to build on it? So you got to find a house plan. Then you got to find somebody to build it, or you're going to have to build it. And then we got to figure out the grade. Well, will the house work on this lot? What kind of grade work we're going to do? Then, oh, we got to dig footers, and we got to either pour it on a slab, or we're going to build the basement, or we're going to do it on a crawl space. And then we got to figure out, okay, how are we going to seal or waterproof our basement, and how we're going to do, you know, we're going to put drain lines around their foundation, vapor bearing a crawl space, insulation or not insulation. Then I said, you know, yeah, then we got to, you know, figure out what kind of floor system we're going to use and what kind of plywood. And we're going to do floor joists, we're going to do trusses, and then we're going to figure out if we're going to build a, you know, build it out of 2x6 walls or 2x4 walls, and what kind of insulation we're going to put in the walls. You get my point. I worked my way all the way through till we got down to the trim. We're going to put 3 1/4 inch trim, 5 1/4 inch trim. What design you going to put? What kind of light fixtures you going to put in it? What kind of light switches? What color? What kind of plate covers? And so I went on and on and on. And after my little spiel there, after I got finished, his wife looked at him and said, yeah, we're buying a house. And so he didn't say much after that, but everybody's different. And I will tell you, before we bought this property, my intentions were to buy a house and some acreage. We'd go in and remodel it, and we'd call it good. But we didn't find what we wanted, and so we ended up finding this piece of land, and it seemed to work for us. And so we ended up, obviously, we're building a house. But I think everybody's different. Some people can build a house and they'll have a contractor take it from, you know, start to finish, and you pay them to do the thinking, so you don't have to do a lot of it. And basically all you're doing is, you know, color selections, and you're going off the recommendations on them on how you're going to construct it and that sort of thing. But if you're going to do like me, and you're out here at 11 o'clock at night, and you're in here putting a septic tank line in, and you're, you know, work plenty of hours at a job and got 50 more things going on, and you're trying to build a house on top of it, take that into account. It makes life hectic during that time period. But I will say this, and I'll shut up because what do I know? But one situation I ran into one time was, there was a young couple, and they were getting ready to get married, and they came to me and they said, Travis, we're going to build a house. Could you recommend a good builder to us? And I said, well, yeah, I can give you some names of some builders. I said, where are you going to build it at? And she said, well, Mamaw has gave us a lot next to them on the family farm. And I said, well, here's one thing you better consider. most likely at 25 years old, you're not going to build the house that you're going to live in the rest of your life. Things are going to change, money's going to change, your needs are going to change. And I said, one thing you better be careful of is if you're building next to Mama and Papa, you better make sure you're going to be building something that you can live with for a long time, because when you live in it for 7 years based off the averages and you say, we need a bigger house, we need another location, this is not working out, we've transferred jobs, Mama and Papa ain't gonna be too happy with you when you pull up and you're selling the house next door to them off the family farm. So young people who Mama and Papa have give you a lot next to them, be mindful that you better plan ahead and get all your septic tank moved out of the way, so when you want to add on to the end of the house, you got room to do it. But I'd probably, if in dealing with all the people I've dealt with on building your so-called forever home, I'd probably live in a house or two together until you figure out each other and figure out exactly what you're gonna need before you go out here and sink it on Mama and Papa's land and be stuck. So the moral of that story is there is no correct answer. Everybody's different, everybody wants something different, but if you're gonna build you one, just do your research and get it all figured out before you start digging. But hey, it can be fun. But if you suffer from what I suffer from, what I call the can't let it go syndrome, it can cost you some late nights. Well, everything's connected. I left this open so the T-deck inspector could come back and check the tank and the lines. Once we get approval on that, we'll cover her up. Should be good to go. Well, do you think I got enough roof trusses on site? If you've not been here before, I'll show you why we've got two sets of trusses. This set of trusses came in with the trusses for this garage, but the heel was 2 foot too short. So these are the corrected trusses, adding the 2 feet to the heel, so that'll give us the correct roof height on our house. My framer, he brought his boom truck up here yesterday, so they're gonna start Monday morning setting the trusses, but we'll get the trusses on the house, and then we will stick build the breezeway tying the garage to the house. So hopefully we can get this thing back on track and make up some lost time. Well, I think that's gonna wrap this one up, but if you watch this one, I appreciate it. And if you've run into the dilemma of whether to buy or build in the past, leave me a comment down below and let me know what you did. I mean, I left out a bunch of factors. We didn't even talk about price per square foot, and the list goes on and on. But there's pluses and minuses to both sides. But anyway, thanks again for watching. And if you have watched this, I'd appreciate, leave me a comment down below and let me know where you're from. It's always neat to hear where people are from and where they're watching from. But hey, we'll catch you on another one.